Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about a massive restructuring at the Walt Disney Company. They're going to focus on streaming. They're reorganizing to focus on streaming. Where have we heard this before? Warner Media is doing basically the same thing to streamline, to focus on HBO Max. And I think they're also reorganizing because of their massive financial losses over at Disney, right? So we're going to talk about that before we get into it. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're almost 150,000 subs, hoping to hit 200 shortly. That would be pretty awesome. Thank you for the support, guys. Now, Geeky will be back. She did write this article, though, on Pirates and Princesses, talking about the Disney Company reorganizing to focus on streaming. This happened last night after hours. I think it was after trading hours. Not sure. They had an interview on, let's see here. Yeah, 4:30. 4:30. They had an interview on CNBC with the familiar blue background that they used when they announced Bob Chapek taking over for Bob Iger. So Disney is saying they're going to restructure to focus on streaming and a direct-to-consumer model. This is the original interview. You can read it on, or you can listen to it on CNBC, out on Twitter. And in the clip, Bob Chapek said, well, we want to do, Julia, is to accelerate our transition to a real direct-to-consumer priority company. We believe we've got the opportunity to build upon the success of Disney Plus, which by almost any measure has been far and above anybody's expectations, and really use this to catalyze our growth and increase our shareholder wealth. Yeah, okay, so let's just drop the truth bomb here. This is smoke and mirrors. This is Disney is hurting. They know the future is streaming. They know the investors have a lot of questions about the path forward because there haven't been any theatrical releases, and their theme parks are kind of dead in the water at this point. They're laying off 28,000 people. They canceled their investor day, and now they're pushing it back to December, I guess, because that was going to be a big victory lap for Disney. They were going to be like, yeah, things are great. Things are great. Things are not great. Things are not good. Things are not good at Disney. They always put a positive spin on the most disastrous news. Absolutely. And the Disney Company is in shambles. We did a video on that before, that the financial situation's actually worse than we think it is. But what they're trying to do now is distract you. They're going to distract you with this news to be like, yep, we got a plan, guys. I know it's going to be bad, but we got a plan. Trust us. Trust your old friend Mickey Mouse. We have a plan. We're going to go all in on streaming. So Geeky wrote this article. She said they want to suddenly accelerate the one arm that wasn't impacted as deeply as the movie and the theme parks. Seems a little late, but okay. Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy and internal fighting with Disney Plus, and I'm going to talk about that. Bob Iger had to step in and break up a fight between the two heads of Disney Plus early on. What Geeky found interesting was that people were going all in on this, and they mentioned the shareholder wealth. What about all the people that lost their jobs? That's true. They're really going to have to pick it up then, because they haven't been bringing it this far. As big draws go compared to Netflix, HBO Max, and Amazon, Hulu is doing better than Disney Plus, and that's kind of the bright spot right now. So here's the press release. In light of the tremendous success achieved to date in the company's direct-to-consumer business, and to further accelerate its DTC strategy, direct-to-consumer strategy, the Walt Disney Company today announced a strategic reorganization of its media and entertainment businesses. This is good news, guys. This is what Disney always fucking does. The castle could be burning down, and they're gonna distract you with, oh, look, guys, we know the castle burnt down, but now we've got extra room to plant trees. So think about that. The Disney Company is gonna plant some more trees where the castle used to be. That's what's going on, okay? Under the new structure, Disney's world-class creative engines will focus on developing and producing original content for the company's streaming services, as well as for legacy platforms, while distribution and commercialization I love how they put all these big words in there to throw the dumb investors off. While distribution and commercialization activities will be centralized into a single global media and entertainment distribution organization. Translation, we can lay a bunch of people off. and we can streamline. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to lay a bunch of people off, and then we're going to just kind of funnel everybody down into one division. The new Media and Entertainment Distribution Group will be responsible for all monetization of content, both distribution and ad sales, and will oversee operations of the company's streaming services. It will also have sole P&L accountability, profit and loss, for Disney's media and entertainment businesses. There's a lot to unpack here, but this is all three-card Monty. The creation of content will be managed in three distinct groups: studios, general entertainment, and sports, headed by current leaders Alan Horn and Alan Bergman, Peter Rice, and James Pitaro. The Media and Entertainment Distribution Group, that's the new one, is going to be headed by Kareem Daniel. And we'll talk about that. He's getting promoted. He was one of Iger's guys, formerly president of Consumer Products, Games, and Publishing. All five leaders will report to Bob Chapek. Okay. Disney Parks Experiences and Products will continue to operate under existing structure led by Josh D'Amaro. Okay. Bob Iger is still involved as executive chairman to direct the company's creative endeavors. Oh boy. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? This is what Mr. Chapek said. Given the incredible success of Disney Plus and our plans to accelerate our direct-to-consumer business, this is what he said on CNBC. Managing content creation distinct from distribution will allow us to be more effective and nimble in making the content consumers want most delivered in the way they prefer to consume it. Our creative teams will concentrate on what they do best, making world-class franchise-based content, while our newly centralized global distribution team will focus on delivering and monetizing that content in the most optimal way possible across all platforms, including Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and the upcoming Star International streaming service, which they were supposed to talk about on October 7th, and they chickened out. Under the new structure, the company's three content groups will be responsible and accountable for producing and delivering content for theatrical, linear, and streaming, with the primary focus being the company's streaming service. Very important. This is very important. Okay. Basically, at this point, Disney is focusing on streaming over theatrical releases. It means Disney doesn't see much of a future for movie theaters. This is going to piss off theater owners who are already pissed off. Theater owners were pissed off about Mulan skipping theaters, and they're pissed off about Soul, the next Pixar movie, skipping theaters. They're basically like, you're giving up on us. And this is kind of dovetails with what we talked about yesterday. Geeky and I talked about yesterday that we have all these people in Hollywood blaming the federal government for the lack of new movies. That the theaters are shut down, that a lot of them are shutting down not because they have to shut down, or in some cases it's state mandated, but they're shutting down because there aren't any new movies. It's not the federal government's fault that the studios aren't putting the movies out there. They're sitting on movies. They're squatting on movies. Disney's squatting on movies. They have Black Widow. They can drop Black Widow. It might not make $1 billion because a lot of theaters are still closed, but it's going to help the theaters that are still open. People are going to go see a Marvel movie, and they won't do it. They didn't release Mulan in theaters. They're not going to release a Pixar movie in theaters. Yes, it's pissing people off, and this is deliberate. Disney is doing this deliberately because they realize that, one, the theater model is winding down. At least the theater is being the primary, the first round of funding, I guess. That's winding down. And they also realize that there's more money to be pocketed. More money to be pocketed if you sell direct to consumer. And you know what's going to happen? This whole thing is going to bleed into other parts of the company, I think. I gotta wonder how long Marvel Comics actually has. Why are we making these pamphlet comics for comic book shops that are disappearing? Movie theaters are disappearing. So why don't we just push the graphic novels direct to consumer? We'll just sell the graphic novels through Amazon and call it a day. We're not gonna mess with monthly comic books anymore. I think this is gonna be a domino effect. So the studios. So Horn and Bergman will serve as chairman. Studios content, which will focus on creating branded theatrical and episodic content based on the company's powerhouse franchises for theatrical distribution, Disney Plus, and the company's other streaming services. The group will include the content engines. I love how they muddy the waters to appear deep. The group will include the content engines of the Walt Disney Studios, including Disney Live Action, Walt Disney Animation Studios, Pixar Animation Studios, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Studios, and Searchlight Pictures. General Entertainment. Mr. Rice will serve as Chairman, General Entertainment Content, which focuses on creating general entertainment, episodic and original long-form content for the company's streaming platforms and its cable and broadcast networks. The group will include the content engines of 20th Century Fox, ABC Signature, Touchstone. Oh no, I'm sorry, 20th Century. We can't call it Fox anymore because that's the Trump channel. So just 20th Television. My mistake. ABC Signature and Touchstone Television, ABC News, Disney Channels, Freeform, FX, and National Geographic Sports. Pitaro will serve as chairman of ESPN and Sports. The Media and Entertainment Distribution Group, this is the new division, led by Mr. Daniel, will be responsible for the P&L management and all distribution, operations, sales, advertising, data, and technology functions worldwide for all the company's content engines, and it will also manage operations of the company's streaming services and domestic and television networks. The group will work in close collaboration with the content creation teams on programming and marketing. I'm going to talk about the infighting at Disney Plus too here in a couple of minutes. So monetization means advertising. And this is Geeky and I were talking about this last night, which is interesting because we remember reading about Disney getting ready for their media buy. Disney, yeah. Okay, so I can chime in on this. This usually happens in October, November. I can chime in on this on a couple of levels. One, I was a marketing manager for a couple of different companies. Okay, that meant that I oversaw ad spends. And usually we started getting our budgets around, or at least we had our advertising schedules, all that, usually in the fall. Okay, because I had to run it past my superiors and say, look, I need X number of dollars. Here's where we're gonna run ads for the next year. Or break it down by quarter. And that's usually how I did it. And I'd say, look, I need, X hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever, because that's what we're going to do. And sometimes it would change. We had a little bit of a slush fund that, things would pop up at the last minute or whatever that we could pull from. But for the most part, we set our ad budgets in the fall. Now, I imagine a lot of other people are doing that too. But now on the Disney side, prior to doing what we're doing now, we actually did run a Disney-themed fan blog co-run with a travel agency, which ended badly, by the way. It's a whole nother story. But, we also knew that this is when Disney would start doling out their co-op money. Now, for those of you who don't know, the vast majority of Disney blogs that you read and YouTube channels and all that, the ones getting the perks, yeah, a lot of them are bankrolled by travel agencies that are getting co-op money from Disney. Disney basically gives them money to sponsor these blogs. So in a roundabout way, Disney actually owns these blogs, or at least they bankroll them, but they're laundering the money through travel agencies. So just an FYI, and I imagine it works the same with a lot of pop culture sites too, where Disney might spend the money on a partner or whatever, or advertise directly for movies or whatever, in exchange, for positive word of mouth. You want access, media access, which is actually very hard to get with Disney, by the way. It took us a very long time. And that was working with an established travel agency to get media access with Disney. And once you get it, they watch you like a freaking hawk. Because if you step out of line, you're not going to be invited to the next movie premiere. You're not going to get free tickets. You're not going to get your free cupcake. You're not going to be invited to the cupcake parties. So yeah, does Disney own a lot of the media in a roundabout way? Absolutely. They absolutely do. And this all happens in the fall. But it's interesting because you got to wonder if the plan with Disney Plus going forward isn't to take a page from the Peacock playbook and start, having an advertising-based version of Disney Plus. That, they'll have like Disney Plus or Disney Plus free, and then like Disney Plus Plus, which is a paid version, and then like Disney Plus 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 Ultra, where you get your stuff early. They're gonna milk it. If they're going all in on Disney Plus, they're gonna milk the shit out of it. So this is interesting. So they're gonna double down on Disney Plus. Geeky wonders, what about the theme parks and all the job losses? No, this is three-card Monty. This is sleight of hand. This is smoke and mirrors. They don't want you to look at the catastrophic losses. They're going to be, look, guys, look how exciting the future is for Disney. This is all a show. This is all a show. In reality, what this means is they're going to streamline like Warner Media is streamlining. More people are probably going to lose their jobs, by the way. And they're just going to be like, well, we just restructured the company and we don't need you anymore. More people are going to lose their jobs. I can almost guarantee it because their fourth quarter is going to be catastrophic. And this comes right after they started crunching the numbers and looking at the spreadsheet, and they're like, holy shit, Mickey's broke. You know, what are we going to do? Oh my God, I can imagine them freaking out. And I know how Disney freaks out. And I can imagine them freaking out like, okay. Well, cancel the investor day because God, I don't know what we're going to tell them. We just had to fire 30,000 people. Oh, what's Warner Media doing again? Yeah, they're going in on HBO Max. Yeah, that's the ticket. That's the ticket. We're all going in on Disney Plus and we're going to restructure the company. And you know, as part of the restructuring process, sometimes people's jobs get phased out. It's nothing personal, but that's how we're going to lay a shit ton more people off. That's what we're going to do. That's the ticket. We're going to tell the investors that everything's fine. It's all fine here. We have a plan, guys. Honest, Disney's got a plan. And by that blank stare there that Bob Chapek had in this interview, like, look at this guy. He is a deer in the headlights. Maybe that's just resting CEO face. I don't know, but he looks like a deer in the headlights. This isn't good news, guys. This isn't good news. It's bad. You know, everybody's going to try to spin it as being positive, but even deadlines like COVID has ravaged Disney more than any other media company, with a direct impact on theme parks, travel, theatrical moviegoing, TV advertising, live sports, and other long-time income sources. Streaming has been the only bright spot, but thus far a money-losing... This is important. Streaming has been a bright spot for Disney, but thus far, it is a money-losing endeavor. In the spring of 2019, the company advised investors it would be years before Disney Plus and other streaming platforms even turn a profit. Disney Plus is still in the hole. It doesn't matter how many subscribers they have. They sunk billions of dollars into this bitch. Billions of dollars. It's a multi-billion-dollar bitch that Disney owns. And it's look, I mean, right out of the gate, they had problems with it. They had, shuffle at the top and everything else. And because there's infighting, I'm going to talk about that. So this is Kareem Daniel, who they hired to run up this new division. Apparently, he's been working with Chapek for like 14 years. You know, it's just, they're talking about how Kevin Mayer was out after he shepherded in Disney Plus, and then he went to TikTok. And then he left TikTok because that's a sinking ship. So, this is interesting because Deadline gets it. They get it. There's no immediate indication of layoffs, though that remains a threat for virtually all players in media and entertainment as they navigate through the coronavirus pandemic. 2 weeks ago, Disney laid off 28,000 workers in theme parks. They're absolutely going to lay people off. They're going to pull a Warner Media and be like, well, we're just refocusing the company, guys. And it's nothing personal. We're not going to give you severance either because we ran out of money. So this is Kareem Daniel, who, he's been a 14-year Disney veteran. He's a protege of Bob Chapek. He's a protege of Bob Chapek, and he's going to oversee this new streaming division. So this came up, and I got to give a hat tip to a friend of mine, sent this over. It's on the information. You have to pay to get the information, so a lot of people aren't covering this. But Iger had to intervene to mediate a power struggle at Disney Plus. Disney Plus has problems, guys. It doesn't matter how many people they have or how many subscribers they have. There's a lot of bickering. I mean, something was up when Kevin Mayer, who should have been basking in the glory of Disney Plus, and that was like his thing, he cut and run after like a month or two and went to TikTok. So last fall, Disney CEO Bob Iger sent a terse email to two of his top executives, Kevin Mayer and Peter Rice. Mayer, who then ran Disney's video streaming effort, had been feuding with Rice, who runs Disney's television studios, over who had the power to pick the shows that would run on the company's about to launch streaming service, Disney Plus. Well, now we know. Daniel, I think, he's going to be ultimately picking what happens. The email gave Mayer a victory, at least for the moment. Iger stated that Mayer had the ultimate authority to greenlight the projects that came out of Rice's division for Disney Plus. Meanwhile, Iger said Mayer's group could not force Rice's studios to create a show. Iger's angry tone implicitly warned both men to stop fighting and stay in their lanes. According to people who read the email, word of the email spread among executives. What made it remarkable was that Iger was known to detest mediating disputes between his subordinates, preferring to let them sort things out. Could this be what is happening with Kathleen Kennedy? Did Iger not want to step in? Did he not want to intervene in the Kathleen Kennedy fiasco? And that's why Star Wars went to hell. Because Bob Iger didn't jump in there and be like, hey, Kathleen, get your shit together or you're out the door. No. We'll just she knows what she's doing. She worked with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas for years. She knows what she's doing. Just let her do her thing. And I'm going to go take some more pictures of myself, write my autobiography and get, plastered on the cover of Time magazine or whatever. The squabbling didn't pause for long. Mayer quit Disney after a stint at ByteDance's TikTok, which turned out to be short-lived. With Mayer out of the picture, Rice renewed his efforts to take control of Disney Plus programming. In July, Agnes Chu, a Disney Plus programming executive, quit to take a job with Condé Nast. Yeah, they're jumping ship from Disney Plus. And I think that this had something to do. I think they knew that this was probably coming. Her departure was partly the result of frustration with how much influence she'd lost in the creative process, said two people familiar with her thinking. The reason behind Chu's departure have not previously been reported. Chu declined to comment. Yeah, if things are going fine, these executives are not going to jump ship, right? Meantime, Disney Plus has turned into a hit. By August, it reached more than 60 million subs. It surpassed its 5-year subscriber goal more than 4 years ahead of schedule. And there's some question as to where these people are coming from, because a lot of people came in from Verizon. They're not really paying for it. And also, it's still in the hole. That quick growth has also caused executives at the company to want to be as closely associated with its success as possible. Everybody wants to take credit for it. Everybody wanted to take credit for it. So the pandemic has made streaming more vital to consumers, shuttering movie theaters and canceling the live sports that filled cable channels. That crisis has only reinforced the anxiety among people who run once powerful TV studios and TV networks. This is interesting. Okay, the failure of imagination of major media companies to foresee circumstances that we're now in have precipitated the very confusing set of circumstances that they now face internally, said Evan Shapiro, a TV producer who worked for CISO. Remember that? That was a streaming service. That was a thing for like a year inside NBC Universal. Everybody, yeah, they thought it was going to last forever. Now they're all trying to hitch their wagon to streaming. So they're basically talking, this whole article is talking about all the behind the scenes drama with Disney Plus. And it's a power struggle as to who gets to call the shots at the company. So this decision seems to put this to rest. Like, this is the pecking order. This is who gets to decide what gets to be on Disney Plus, because we've got so many people that want to fit on the life raft, because it's like the Titanic, right? It's the Titanic. You know, Rose and Jack can't both fit on the life raft, even though they technically could have. They can't, so somebody's got to drown. And that's what's going to happen. Disney's going to focus solely on Disney Plus and leave some of its other divisions to drown, I think. And that means layoffs, that means cutbacks, that means a smaller mouse, right? Which might not be a bad thing, because that mouse might have to become crafty again and learn how to find the cheese. Disney has lost its way. Personally, I think they're losing the animation battle. I mean, look at what Netflix is doing. They're ramping up. Other people are ramping up their animation division. All the really talented Disney animators, the big names, the big guns, they've left. They've left. Anybody with any creativity at Disney basically has left or gone in some other way. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Disney a year from now. Again, we are far from this being over. I think Disney is going to look very different a year from now. I think they're going to be very, very lean and potentially scooped up by a tech company. That seems to be the rumor, that the vultures are hovering. And after their dismal fourth quarter report comes out that they're going to get snapped up. Who knows? I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.